Hi there folks, it's Kerry here again, another video for you. Today the 17th of March 2021. The year is going by so fast, but they tell me that's what happens when you get to be an old man like me. And just looking at the video, it looks like I could do with a haircut, so that might get done in the next few days. Hoping to get out to the Christchurch City Library's book sale this Friday. It depends how I feel. Haven't been out and about much lately, so it's always a bit of a shock to the system if you do have to do a bit of walking, but we'll see what happens. Now today I just wanted to wrap up Smoking in Antarctica by Steve Braunias. By some strange coincidence, Steve Braunias has a new book out, Missing Persons, just this week, and I've today ordered a copy of it. It's kind of odd though, my interest in him gets to a peak just when he has a new book out. I didn't know about it in advance, so it's just one of those strange things. And I have another used book by him, his very first book, How to Watch a Bird, coming to me from RTB, so that might arrive tomorrow. So Smoking in Antarctica is a collection of his columns that he wrote for the Sunday Star Times. That's a nationwide Sunday newspaper here in New Zealand. And these columns came as output from 2008 to 2010. Now, I've been dipping in and out of this book for the last couple of weeks in between reading other magazines and what have you, and I think that is a perfect way to read a book like this. It's no continuing narrative except for a few linked columns. Just read a couple, put it down, come back a couple of days later, read a few more, then read a few more a few days later, and that's the perfect way to dip into this book and take it in. He's a bit of a humorist, a bit of a deep thinker, but it's not deep and meaningful at all. It's a lot of fun really, and although he does get serious in the sections about crime and life and death and what have you, it is divided into sections such as, let me see, Father's Days. That's about his young family. He had a daughter about 2 or 3 years old at the time this was written. We have This Writing Life. It's kind of a broad topic about his writing. He made an effort to write a novel after winning some type of fellowship grant to go live in a flat above a park in Auckland, and he basically tells us how he whittled away that time and didn't achieve all that much. Politics, of course, this bit dates the book a little bit. It's about the 2008 election when the Labour Party was ousted by National, and it's about basically the transition period between then. And his little escapade in Antarctica, which he doesn't sound like being very impressed by in the end. It's just calls it a white hell or something like that. And what else? And there's a lot of general New Zealand stuff, small town New Zealand, and there's a great section called The National Stomach where he wrote a column about weird and grotesque New Zealand dishes of the past, lots of use of pineapple and other fruit with meat, and he got his readers wrote in and told them about other recipes in recipe books with other equally vile sounding dishes. So that was a bit of fun. And then he gives us a bit of history, and then he has a section on the crime and criminal cases that he's sit in on, and he has a little bit on language uses. He seems to collect misspellings in public places like on shop signs and what have you, and he has his readers send in other examples. So the thing I'm most impressed about is he's a genuine New Zealand voice, which of a type which doesn't feel so cringy as some of the people that are promoted in the media as a voice of New Zealand. He's not a mad sports star or sports fanatic as far as I can tell, or he's not pushing up a certain barrow. So it's just, it's good to find someone moderate like that who's actually wants to talk about this country and the people in it. So I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the books of his that I've gathered from various sources in the recent times. And yeah, so what else have I been up to? Well, yesterday I read the latest New Zealand Geographic magazine. That'd be the March-April edition. It has a big article on vaccinations, kind of contrasts the current COVID-19 vaccination effort with how the polio vaccine was rolled out and all the mistakes that were made then, and that's come back through the system to make it all the checks and balances that we have now. And there's lots of infographics and what have you on that, and some other articles about pollination, insects, and what would happen if we lost the use of honeybees and the native insects that do pollination, and other animals which seem to be involved too. And there's also a nice little story about tree hunters, people trying to find the largest trees of their types in New Zealand and putting them forward for the record books. So, and then there's also a lot of sidebars and what have you. So that's the March-April New Zealand Geographic. I recommend that if you are in New Zealand. Other than that, still no progress on the fibre, and there are roadworks in my street. You may have heard some of them in the background. They're digging up the water mains apparently this time. Even though they just resurfaced the street, they're digging up the footpaths now, and there's large trenches out there, and I have to skip over them to try and get out to put the wheelie bins out for the recycling and the rubbish. And I'm hoping the mail people don't have problems getting over them to actually deliver things. So that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe or leave a comment, and I'll leave it there. So cheers.